Yeah, I also had concerns too about data sharing. Several years ago, I found that some of our data popped up in someone else's publication, and it was our original data for 3 years of research, and it said, thanks to personal communication. I was actually in meetings with this guy. He never communicated with me at all, and so that's a big concern. We have a huge database with 28 years now of consecutive 28 years from Point Vicente, and actually Ray Gilmore started watching from Greenland in 1955. I inherited a project that started out with a couple of weeks of tentative data collecting in 1979, and then a couple of months in 1980. In 1984, I started a full-time gray well census from Point Vicente, and didn't really think it would still be going now. All staffed by trained volunteers. Volunteers are from the public. We have about 65 people who put in at least 10 hours a season. We've got a core group of about 9 to 13 people who, like, we have the same person every year who's there Monday mornings and anchors that shift. We have the same person who's been there 25 years on Sunday mornings. They're a Sunday morning person. So although we won't necessarily have the same person there every single day, we have the same person consistently throughout the years. We've got that good consistency who anchors it, and then we have other people come in. We have training going on with the Cabrera Marine Aquarium. A lot of our naturalists go through the Cabrera Whale Watch program. I also trained the volunteers too. And so we put in we're there from sunrise to sunset. Somebody is there 7 days a week from December 1st to May 15th. Whoa, whoa, whoa. No, no, no. We go backwards and jump. We do see cow capture. Back, back. One more. Okay, so here's one more. There we go. Point Vicente Interpreter Center is a fantastic site. For all these years, we've been within about a half a mile between Greenland and Point Vicente. We're about 125 feet above sea level. We've got this great spot that's pretty custom made for us, a platform, a patio on a little interpretive center. The water drops off near shore, very close to shore, so we get all kinds of species. We've had 19 different species of marine mammals documented from the spot. They come in so close to shore that sometimes we hear them before we see them, which is fantastic. We get a great view, particularly to the north, of southbound animals. To the south, it's blocked by the Point Vicente, where the Coast Guard facility is. For a couple of years, we were actually there, but they got nervous about the foghorn and also security after military things went on, and they said we have to stay off the Coast Guard facility. So we get these great observations. The top person in the upper right there is Joan Burnett, who did put in over 26,000 hours over 30 years, and she was literally there within a couple days of her passing. That's where she wanted to be, at Point Vicente. Some people are there every day. We get people there every single day. We've got one observer, Joyce Daniels. She's there like every afternoon during the week. We get a lot of consistency. We also deal in public education. This is a place where people come and see the little history museum. We look at counts for abundance. We look at distribution, migratory timing, behavior, and calf recruitment with gray whales. While we're there, might as well, we collect data on other species of marine mammals seen, also looking at the distribution and timing, changes over time, and abundance, which has really interesting ramifications as far as ship strikes. And again, it went twice. We do see mating, we see courtship activity, we see a lot of courtship going on even in the northbound migration. The area where we're at is sort of a resting area in the kelp beds where moms will come in with their calves, stay and nurse. We'll have a lot of rolling and milling going on. We have animals coming from offshore that hang out there for a while. A tough thing for us, particularly southbound migration, is counting the southbound calves. They're really small. And if you look here in the lower right-hand corner, this is a calf that went by January 1st, was on the far side of the mother from shore, and from shore they could not see it. They could not see that little guy tucked away against the mom. Whenever we think we have a calf, relating with NOAA, from their counts, whenever you think you have a calf, it usually is a calf. And the mom will adopt a very low profile type thing. Sometimes we'll only see prints, that's it. So we have to be really careful. We've seen 14 cow-calf pairs so far this year. Sometimes they hang out in the kelp, even do its feeding sort of behavior. Sometimes we see them going in the mud and doing opportunistic foraging. Some years, particularly around 1999, 2000, we had obviously whales that were in very bad nutritional condition. You can see the scapula sticking out. I've been in the water with them. You can see ribs sticking out, just horrible, horrible things going on. And that really affected our counts. We've had huge variety from our counts in southbound going anywhere from 301 southbound to 1,291 back in 1985, and a northbound anywhere from 634 to 3,412. We are not trying to determine how many gray whales there are. We're looking at trends over time, and our trends match with National Marine Fisheries trends, with the exception that we tend to get more juveniles close to shore and the adults travel further offshore. It's really interesting how close these match. When we can, we try to note individually identifying characteristics. If we see a pod of whales, we look for things like a spot, deformity, anything that might help us count accurately how many whales there are. For example, in one sighting, there were only 2 whales seen at the surface at one time, but if you looked at marks like a huge orange lysy head, a big old white spot, a smaller whale, and one with polka dots all over it, there were actually 4 whales. So when they come close to shore, we actually get better counts than the ones that are further off. And killer whale bites and a harpoon wound there on the bottom. We get breaching behaviors and spy hopping. We note those sorts of things. Entangled whales, although not as much since 1990, since now the gill nets have to be further offshore. See the animal that has apparently survived an entanglement on the bottom. We go with Journey North and online and share our data. The northbound data is on there where students can access it, along with Mike White, who does the Gray Whales Count Project off Galado. And kids can get into this and use it and apply it, and there's great lessons on there for them. Same thing with the NOAA project for the northbound count is also on there, so it's available for people, and you can look up and down the coast, see what everybody's doing. Looking at over time for the last 10 years of data, you can look at last year, and if you look in the red, you'll see how low our northbound count was. It was the lowest northbound count ever. On the right, look at this year's count, and you can see we're doing much, much better. It's the best in about 5 years. Besides the gray whale counts, we look at other species. We see many different species here. We have blue whales that did come very close to shore, particularly this last year. And up there I had just last year, out of the 166 days, we saw them on 20 days. Ship strike issue. You can see we had fin whales last year, amazing number of fin whales. 5 years ago, 4 sightings. Last year, 131. And they moved in very close to shore. We're feeding. In the lower right, you can see there's a fin whale wrapped around the bow of the ship. Humpback whales. We have them close to shore also. Lots of activity this past year. A lot of krill out there. Minke whales. A lot of them have moved in closer to shore. Lots of sightings. A lot of times we can't tell for sure it's a particular species. Sperm whale. We have sporadic usage of our habitat by sperm whale. We have a near-shore canyon. Get them a couple miles offshore and working the same habitat back and forth. This particular sperm whale was first seen in 1982 off Newport Beach. We documented him through 1991. Every year coming back off Point Vicente, the same male, sometimes with another male with them. Haven't seen him since, but we did get a match with another sperm whale, about a 12-year delay between when we photographed him off Point Vicente and John just had him this last year. So really great long-term usage with the photos that we have in hand. Common dolphin we see most days. Big mega groups, huge groups. We can't tell if they're long beach or short beach from shore. Bottlenose dolphin, a peak year. We even had a birth last year. High usage of bottlenose dolphin, hanging out in the kelp. See them coming very close to shore. Bottlenose rhesus dolphin and white-sided, very interesting. Last year we had 64 days of sightings of white-sided rhesus, 15 days. Every year except for 1 year we have an opposite kind of relationship, inversely proportional. This year we're having huge amounts of rhesus dolphin, way down on the white-sided, and coordinating with folks in Monterey and NOAA, they get when we have fewer white-sided, they get more. When we have more rhesus, they have less. That's interesting. Dall's porpoise, not very often. The northern right whale dolphin, often hard to pick out. They don't have that dorsal fin. So there may be times that they're out there using the area. I don't think that they're using it as much as other species, though. Pilot whales were out there all the time in the 1970s and early 80s. Pretty much disappeared. I haven't seen one since 1987. Dall's porpoise, real hard to pick up from shore. Occasionally get to see them. Seeing them for the first time out there in 1982, can't believe it. Saw my first wild killer whales, got me hooked. Dennis Kelly been collecting killer whale photos. Started following him, getting to know the killer whales. 1984, started collecting my own. which resulted in collaboration with 73 different people contributing pictures into this catalog, published in 1997, which we're working on an update. And also with people from Mexico too. We found our whales are seen down in Mexico, some of them all the way up to Alaska. Well, 4 kinds of killer whales you see in California. The transient type killer whales and mammal eaters, the offshores that come down from British Columbia, about 200 of them, and feed, we think, on fish and shark. Good paper was just published this week on that. Transients, we've got about 150 identified. The LA pod I named back when they were like always seen around Los Angeles. These were the ones that killed the great white shark you may have heard about. The whale that ate jaws, last time seen December 97. I'm sure they're in Baja. They're really small little whales. And we've got these southern residents in Monterey. They eat different sorts of things. We haven't seen them interact with each other at all. Lots of movement, all particular transient whales, all the way up to Bering Sea, down to Monterey, and we have a few sightings off our area too. Transients, again, the mammal eaters, we have photographs matching all over the place. This is one of the ones that Nick had seen, a CA-140, killing the gray whale calf off Monterey, and looking at the data with National Marine Fisheries. Times that we see a lot of gray whales, we see a lot more killer whales attacking them. Very, very quickly. Okay. Offshore killer whales, very unusual bunch of whales. We can get 150 of these guys on one day. There's about 300 of them we think identified in British Columbia. We've identified about 200 out here. Since the LA pod left, I decided to specialize in these guys. And it's pretty amazing. They eat fish and sharks. They hang out around mating gray whales and act like dolphins. They're not harassing them, just checking them out. Lots of long-term movement. Female with her young was found, photographed off here, has also been seen in the Bering Sea. And very close to shore off the LA area. The LA pod, very strange looking whales. They're munchkin whales. They're real small. They're the only ones I ever saw in the beginning. And they're way smaller than transient killer whales, but I thought that was normal. I thought transients were giants. I think they're down in Mexico. And the one on the upper right-hand side is the one that attacked and ate the great white shark. So collaboration is super important for us. In fact, I met my husband on a dead blue whale. And Dave Janiger, if you have any publications you guys need, okay, Janiger Journals, he'll send you anything you need. If you can't find it, he will make a trip and go track it down for you. And he also goes and collects the strandings all over the place too. So lots of collaboration. Super important, huge amount of data, and anyone who's studying any of these animals, be sure to contact me and let me know because we've got a lot of stuff to work on.
Great, thank you.